Religion needs to hook them up with some.
Yeah, right. No, that's out of my own pocket.
Real technology. You need one of those.
That's right.
The monster.
Yeah, I don't think Realgy would pay me for that one.
No, they wouldn't.
Hey, you keep on putting in that work to do something.
Hey, keep giving me contracts. Bro.
There you go. There you go. Jeez.
All right, cool. Well, we're here at the Century 21 Hardee Real Estate Group. Is that?
Yeah, Century 21 Hardee Jr. Royalty. I'm the owner of this location, and then also me and my wife run a team called the Hardee Group here at Century 21 as well.
And then we have Mr. Ed, like the horse, right?
Oh, yeah,
That was not the first time you said
actually,
that.
that was my grandparents' nickname for me. He called me Talking Horse because Mr. Ed was their favorite show.
Yeah.
And my cousin still calls me that.
So you're talking horse, so you were
talking.
good for sales then.
Yeah, I'm a tall horse. So you gotta be kidding me, man.
And Ed, where do you work?
I work for a TRG out of Mount Laurel. Currently live in Denver. I'm in business development. I cover the entire country, 22 business units, working with sales reps to improve their skills and effectiveness.
Awesome. And I, of course, Jesse Soto, Texas American Title in the Heights. So we're just hanging out here talking. We're going to talk a little bit about sales, how the market's going, and just real estate in general, and a little bit about, I guess, personal lives too. We'll see.
There you go.
So what are you seeing so far this year, or I guess
as far as the real estate market?
Last quarter, yeah.
I'm feeling like a lot of people are probably, if they're putting their home on the market right now and they're trying to take advantage of the last year or 2 years of how the prices have just increased substantially, they're probably going to get let down a little bit after the hump of this kind of holiday season. As January, February, March starts coming into effect, I think we're going to see a lot more inventory on the market. So pricing of your property is going to have to be realistic from square one versus maybe trying to start high and come down a little bit down later, knowing that your home might not appraise for that really high price that are going on in the area. But homes are still selling every single day. I know, in July of 2016 here, 7,200 properties did sell. Just July of last year was 7,900. So there's a dip of 8%, but the home prices have stayed pretty much the same, all along the way. So I think the more realistic people are on their prices, the most they're going to get for their property in the quickest amount of time it's going to sell it, really.
Awesome. Are you seeing, I know you probably get this question all the time, is it a buyer or seller's market?
I think it's probably both. If you had your home on the market back in 2010, 2012, 2011, it didn't sell, you took it off because you knew you just weren't getting what you wanted for the property, and now life has kind of moved forward. You have the opportunity of selling it and moving somewhere where you really want to be at, then you're going to be able to make a really good penny for your property. Second thing is that person buying your property has very great interest rates to work with right now. I know a lot of our buyers are getting in 3.65 and around that area. If that goes up a point, if you have a $300,000 home, and let's say in a year homes do decrease a little bit in value. Say that same home is $280,000. If the point of interest rate goes up 1 point, they're spending so much more in the life of the loan versus if they actually bought that home now at $300,000 with that low interest rate. I think for a $300,000 house over the course of 30 years, if an interest rate goes up 1 more point, you could be spending at least $70,000 more on the life of the loan.
Oh, awesome. And how long have you been in real estate? I'm going to ask that question.
Probably since like forever. So my parents started a brokerage when I was probably 3 or 4 years old. So I've kind of been ran around it. Got my license when I was 18, did it for about a year. I got out of it for a year. I got out of it after a year, and then I went ahead and got back into it when I moved back from Austin when I was about 24 years old. So 23, 24, and now I just turned 27. So now full-fledged the last 3 or 4 years.
Awesome. Awesome. So Ed, do you have anything awesome to say, sales-wise?
Well, a couple things.
Okay.
I work with a lot of sales reps all across the country, and I see virtually the same mistakes being made. And we talked about this a little earlier. Follow-up. For some strange reason, reps are afraid to follow up with a client. Yeah, 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 2%.
That's right.
80% are made on the 5th through 12th contact. So if you're prospecting, you're calling, the first thing you need to have is a great pitch. Because an adult has about a 20-second attention span. If you can't catch an adult's attention in 20 not going to get their attention.
Ouch.
So there's got to be a reason why you're calling that person, why you're prospecting. You got 20 seconds to do it. And what happens a lot of times, they'll call 10, 20 people and get 20 rejections and really feel bad about the rejections. So the next time they start prospecting, instead of making 10 or 20 calls, they make 5 or 10.
That's right.
And before you know it, they might prospect and they might not. Well, prospecting is where revenue begins.
That's right.
It's where
Exactly.
revenue begins.
You're looking for the no instead of the yes.
Yeah,
after a while.
yeah. And what I tell people who are afraid to prospect and who are afraid to follow up is, your goal is to get 50 no's today.
Exactly right.
Go get 50 no's today. Because guess what's going to happen? You might get 40 no's and 10 yeses. Like you said, I'll take those odds all day long.
Exactly right.
But if you don't set a goal of doing something repeatably and make it predictable, then your income won't be predictable.
Yeah.
It won't repeat itself.
Exactly right.
So I
It's
see-
going to be like the average, either, I would imagine, title rep, realtor, anybody in sales, heck, the guy knocking on the door for, trying to sell, electric company, trying to get them to move to their electric company, like you see every day in Houston, walking in the heat, and they're going door to door. The guy that probably does it every day is probably making some good money. Even though he should probably get into better sales, something that's paying him more per sale. But that guy that's only going out there, once a
When he
week,
feels like it.
Exactly, yeah, it's going to be up and down. He might make a little bit of money for a month from now, but he's going to be dry after that.
Yeah,
So.
it's all about the habits that you create. If you're creating poor habits, then your income's going to be poor. I grew up. We talked about how you get your selling skill. I worked for Xerox for 5 years, and if you could sell a Xerox copier, you can sell.
You can sell, right?
Okay, so
How many people need one, right?
Yeah, and what would happen? They had a pretty rigorous training program, and at that point, Xerox was the #1 training organization in the world.
It's awesome.
And they teach you how to ask questions, ask for the business, and if you can't ask for the business, you will starve at Xerox. And we talked about that movie Glenn Ross.
That's right.
That was my life for 5 years at Xerox.
That's right.
But a lot of those fundamental things that I learned at Xerox,
You learn for everything.
I
now.
still
awesome.
do exactly the same things. As I teach you guys the same things. It's not about being productive. It's about being effective. And let me tell you why. And it's kind of very reasonable. Being more productive says I'll make 50 calls versus making 40 calls. Has nothing to do with the quality of the calls you're going to make. Being effective says if I'm more effective, that means that I'm making my calls are shorter, which will enable me to make more calls in a given period of time. If I'm able to make more calls, then I'm able to get more prospects in my pipeline. If I'm able to get more prospects in my pipeline, I'm able to sell more people. If I'm able to sell more people, I'll make more money. So what's the most likely thing that you're going to do next? You're going to want to do more.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at productivity, you never hear me talk about productivity. Always hear me talk about effectiveness, because productivity doesn't drive effectiveness; it drives it down. Effectiveness drives productivity, because I guarantee you, when you're making money hand over fist and you're out there knocking on doors and making phone calls and you're delivering what you're doing is you're creating your own success model and your own rhythm. Once you start doing that and learning how to engage a person, you will definitely start making more money. The last year I was at Xerox, I was 854% the plan.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
And so what it shows you too is sometimes the person that says, "Hey, I got to make 30 contacts today to reach my goal," they're like, "Oh, I got to get to that 30." But when you're really hitting them,
Yeah.
then you're like, "Oh my God, I'm already at 35. I need to get 10 more.
Keep going,
I need to get
keep
10 more.
going.
Then I need to get my 10 more because
Yeah.
I'm already being productive."
You're in the zone.
And I noticed for myself that I spent so much time prospecting that a lot of times a new agent or person who's never prospected before feels like it's like such a hard thing to do, and they feel like it's such like an uphill battle until maybe they get pretty good at it. The thing about it is though, even me, I would hide. And my dad, when I first got into real estate, got my license, I was 18 years old, and I would hide because he would say, "You need to call these people color lots. These people have a lot, they're going to want to build a house on it. If they don't want to build it, sell their lot. And it's the easiest call you can do." And I would just sit in this little office, and I would lock the door, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I talked to like 35 people," and I would just lie. And I went for like a month of that. And then, it was funny because I got out of it. I started working with like this lady, and we had done some deals, and we were working a little bit differently than I was doing, like just prospecting every single day. And I got back into real estate, and I said, man, I do not want to lock myself in that room. Well, the good thing was, after about probably a couple weeks of being back from Austin and getting my license back going, I went to a prospecting blitz in College Station, and I was like, I'm in a big room, and there's like 25 people in here, and all these people do a lot of deals, and I cannot sound like an idiot, and I definitely cannot just not be on the phone.
Right.
So I just kept on telling myself, like, I'm gonna whoop everybody's butt here. Like, there's not gonna be no, like, I had to almost like lie to myself and tell myself that I was gonna close. And I think the first 4 or 5 people I talked to, I set 3 appointments. And then ever since then, I like had this in my mind that even if for some reason I don't prospect for a good little while, and something, I'm working on the team stuff, I'm working on other stuff, and somebody in the office wants to say, hey Chris, you ain't got on the phones today. I get on the phone and talk to 5 people and get 2, 3 deals from it, while they're on the phone talking to 30, 40, 50 people, and they can't get one if it hit them in the face.
Right.
Because their mindset is totally different versus me. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna ask them enough questions until they sell their home with me. Or I'm gonna set an appointment with them, and I'm gonna ask that person in so many different ways and repeat what they told me back to them, that they're gonna know I'm listening, they're gonna know that I really am here to help, versus just kind of going through the ropes and saying, oh, I need to hit my 30 contacts today. Oops, somebody just told me no. I just need to get that 30, and then as soon as that 30 is done, if I don't get my appointment, I'm going to leave, but at least I hit my 30. What happens is, after about the second day of that, they don't hit 30 anymore.
Yeah.
They go down to 10.
Right.
Like you said.
They give up, and that's the biggest problem a lot of sales reps face. I call it courage.
That's right.
Right, it's courage.
That's right.
At the end of the day, this is what your income is based on, but you come to the office and you're scared to make a phone call.
That's right.
I always tell people, they're not going to cook you and eat you.
No.
The worst thing that can happen to you is you fall over and have a heart attack right there on the phone.
That's right.
That ain't going to happen.
That's right.
So what are you scared of? They're
That's
not going
right.
to slap you to the phone.
You can call them right back.
You
The
call
thing
them
is,
right back.
hey, in 5 minutes, call that guy right back. It's hard for them to be the same.
Right.
Hey, you know what? I kind of like let
I'm
you have the phone, yeah, whatever it is.
Sorry,
And
I
it
came across a little hard.
and I was wondering, when you guys put this home on the market last time, where were you planning to move to? Just dip right back into it. Hey, I know you're getting a ton of calls right now. It's probably a headache to have to get 25 realtors to call. Let's see if we can figure it out in this call. If you guys would have sold it, where would you have gone to? Where do you happen to move from before you got here? What's going on? And then they're going to start talking. As long as you repeat what they say back and show that you're listening, it's a win-win. And I would imagine for you at Xerox, if you didn't make the calls, they'd probably fire you.
Oh, yeah.
And our issue in this business, I feel like, as an independent contractor, as a real estate agent, is that people will do these realtors' jobs if you pay them $500 a week. They would call. If I said, hey, here's a $500 check every week, I can get that person to talk to 30 people today. It just is what it is. But you get that person and say, hey, you can make $300,000 right now this year. If you call all these people, they won't even do it sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's weird. They will take rejection for a little bit of money, but to put the value in themselves to really get it done, it's kind of different.
Yeah, again goes back to courage. It's
That's right.
frightening to think that you can make $500,000.
That's right. Oh, it is. And most people, when I interview people, I met with a lady the other day, and I felt bad and I felt confused at the same time. She was quick when we do an interview, I asked, what's your current income? And what's the highest income you've ever made? And she put, I'm proud or something. She put, instead of just putting the number, she put like, I'm proud to say that I made this much money. And it was $18,000. And she said that's the most she's ever made in a year. And she said, when I talked to her about it, she said she was spoiled. And I said, I don't even know what to think about this.
Yeah.
I didn't know what her mindset
I don't
was.
know what that means.
Think about what that person's real life is like. And I don't think money is not the root of, it's not the, I wouldn't say it's the root of it, but it's not the end all for everything. You need more than just money. But I don't know that many people that are that happy that make $18,000 a year. And not that many people that would consider themselves spoiled, other than maybe, the clothes they got on or something,
Right.
And when I started talking to her about the opportunity of what a real estate, if she treated it like a business, if she did something on a daily basis that would just increase her income, she didn't think she could make more than $30,000 in a year. So to tell her that she could make $200,000 in a year and do all that stuff is it just wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen.
It boggled her mind because that's inconceivable based
Exactly
on
right.
her experience.
Yeah, exactly right. I even heard, there's another guy yesterday, I watched a YouTube video on him, been in the business for 20 years, he's never made more than $100,000, and he pretty much said, hey, this is where I'm stuck at, I'm never gonna get past this. He started kind of looking into the coaching that I'm in, and in the first year of that type of coaching, he was talking about after he's already done 4 times what he's ever done in a year. Oh, the guy, it was an awesome 15-minute video. He's like, he said his hardest part right now is that every day in his head, he's like, I've actually made almost $400,000 this year, and I've never made more than like 120, and I have the time. I'm not working the weekends. I'm not working late nights. I'm spending more time with my family. But for some reason in my head, my mindset to go past $500,000 is like something's restricting me there. Like I can't do it. But he's like, I'm almost there already. After like I've multiplied it by 4 times in 1 year.
Right.
So can you imagine like that? As soon as he accepts that, he's gonna hit $1 million.
Right.
As soon as he goes, and I know other people that I've met at Mike Ferry events and stuff as well, and they'll talk about hitting $1 million, and they're stuck at $1 million for so many years, and all the people around them are doubling that, and it's like you don't realize just knowing that you can do that. It's like other people around you listening to you speak don't even think they can get past 200,000, 100,000, and you're doing $1 million. So it's a beautiful thing.
It takes me back to a story when I was in high school. A friend of mine asked me, "How much money would you like to make a year?" What do you think you can make a year? $52,000 a year. I said, that's $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
I'm
Sounds
17 years old.
good.
That's
Sounds
a lot
good.
of money.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then when I made it my first year, I'm like, this really isn't that fun.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
And it's all based on what we've been talking about, just activities.
That's right. That's right.
How good at you at your job? How good at you are you at asking questions? How effective are you when you're in front of a client? Is your sales call 15 minutes long or is it 5 minutes long?
Yeah.
If your sales call is 15 minutes long, you didn't do enough front end work.
That's right.
Because you don't know your client well enough to ask the right types of questions. So you spend 15 minutes and their head's about to explode.
That's right. That's right. You gotta set that appointment.
Yeah, you
You
set
gotta
the
set the
appointment and you get all the basic information up front. And what I teach a lot of times is asking one really good question. I call it a high gain question. A high gain question is the question that forces your client to think about their answer. It gets them involved in what they're interested in, their preferences, what they value. It's hard for people to change in the middle of a sales call on something that they value.
Exactly right.
So if you ask one really good high gain question up front, they're gonna talk 75% of the time, which is what you want.
That's right.
And then after that, you're asking closed and open-ended questions just to, confirm what you just heard or seek a little bit more information. But you're almost like a moderator in a sales call. And once you get all your information and it's time for you to ask for something, guess what? If you've done the right things in that 5 minutes, they're gonna literally close themselves.
They're gonna go with it. Yeah. They're just going on the line with you.
Right. Because you're asking the right types of questions.
That's right.
And it's just a matter of time when you hit that rhythm of knowing how and what to ask. I suggest in Xerox, we worked in vertical markets. My pitch in each one of those vertical markets was completely different. When I visited state and local government, the big thing was cost. When I went to insurance firms, the big things being effectiveness and productivity.
That's right.
There's a lot of paper, and all work.
The business can't stop. So.
Yeah, if you think back in the day, I'm a little older than both of you guys,
That's right.
probably combined. That's fine. But back in the day, the copier was king because an insurance company without a copier, your business stopped.
That's right.
Yeah.
You didn't have a fax machine either. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. It's a wrap. You
What's
can't
a
do
fax
anything.
machine?
Yeah, you can't do anything. Those companies couldn't do anything without paper.
Sure.
Worked in a vertical market at colleges and university. They lose their copiers. People don't get tested. Their business stops.
That's right.
So me understanding each one of those vertical markets and then one I call mission critical document that they had was what catapulted me to success because I only focused on the mission critical need. Whatever that was, that's all I talked about. Because all this other stuff doesn't matter.
And sometimes the other guy that's calling instead of you calling is just going all around it.
Yeah,
instead of just hitting it.
He's just trying to sell a copier.
That's right.
I say, and my copier costs twice as much as their copier, and I'm beating them all day.
That's right.
Because I'm not selling a copier, I'm selling to an implicit need that you have
That's right.
that you can't do without. And oh, by the way, we have the most reliable pieces of equipment on earth.
So Ed, that actually brings up a good point. My favorite story of yours that I wanted you to tell him about the
Oh, you mentioned the Kobayashi
The
Maru?
Kobayashi, yeah,
Kobayashi.
I can't even say it.
So I have a
this is
scenario
awesome.
that I do for people, and I can come in and do it for your group as well. So,
Okay.
the Kobayashi Maru is a Star Trek episode from the early '70s, and it was basically Captain Kirk had to certify to be the Starfleet commander, and he had to go through this process of simulation to be certified. The simulation, Kobayashi Maru, is basically a computer that can lie and cheat. A computer can lie and cheat. So the scenario is you're the captain of Starfleet, Star Commander, whatever you want to call your ship, and there's a ship, the Kobayashi Maru, that's stuck in the Klingon neutral zone.
He's not a Trekkie. He's
Yeah,
just,
I have no
it's
idea.
this one.
Yeah, and I think that's a bad deal, right?
Yeah.
So if they remain in Klingon neutral zone, they're gonna die. People will blow them up.
That's right.
So Captain Kirk was struck with a choice: go into the neutral zone and risk the lives of the people on his ship to save that ship, or leave them there. It's called the no-win situation. So what I'm about to do with you now is a no-win situation.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna tell you how Captain Kirk won.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. My name is I'm Wonderful, and I am the vice president of finance of a laser company, a laser cutter company. I have this revolutionary new product that's going to change the market and take my $100 million company to over $1 billion in the next couple of years. I'm launching this product in 61 days. It requires a 7.5 watt light bulb. I'm going to need about 100,000 of them a month. I am sending out a bid to 3 people. Your company is one of them. I need a 7.5 watt light bulb, and I'm shipping in 61 days. My bid's going to close on Monday at 5 p.m. and I'll make a decision on which person I'm going to go with based on what's in the bid. You are a top salesperson for light bulb company A. You have the absolute best 5 watt light bulb. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can touch it. I buy your 5 watt light bulb exclusively. You also make a 7.5 watt light bulb. That's okay. There's a couple other vendors who do a better job at the 2.5 watt light bulb. You're the best in the business. You know more about light bulb than just about anybody. You come across, you bid it against some of these other companies. You have this wealth of information. You know what you're doing. I'm just letting you know as a courtesy, since we've done business, that I'm opening a bid and inviting you to bid, not knowing that you don't have a 5 watt light bulb. Sell me a 7.5 watt light bulb.
So I have to have the 7.5, and I only sell which kind?
5 and a 2.5.
And I'm supposed to sell the 7.5 watt light bulb.
That you don't have.
I guess the biggest thing, the first thing I'd probably do, if it was gonna be that big of a deal, and we could make that much money off of it, it'd be like a life-changing change for my business personally, I'd probably call that other company and try to go be their salesperson.
But so yes, but that guy is the one submitting the bid. Your competition is submitting a bid.
Exactly right.
So you got 2 of your competitors who are submitting a bid as well, and they make a 7.5 watt light bulb.
Exactly right.
Right.
I think I can put that application in at the 7.5. But no, I know. I understand what you're saying. I think I need to. I don't know how I would format that. If you don't have it, how would you sell it?
That's the question.
Yeah, that's his question.
So I take people down a path, and I keep asking them, keep asking me questions, keep asking me, come on, sell me a light bulb.
That's right.
And at a certain point, usually about 20 minutes, you see the questions start to die down. And then my next question to them is there any way possible that I'm going to buy a 7.5 watt light bulb from you today? The answer is no. So if you can't sell me a 7.5 watt light bulb, what do you have that has some value, that could potentially have value for me as a client? Remember, I'm the vice president of finance. What's most important to me?
That's right.
That bottom dollar, right? Saving costs, making money, that's it. So what I suggest to people is, so you can't sell them a light bulb. So why are you trying so hard to sell them something you don't have?
That's right.
And you're not gonna have for at least a year.
So you gotta sell another one.
You gotta sell them something else.
That's right.
You gotta sell them service. So and here's how I explain it to people. What's your name again? I'm sorry. Chris. So now we just switch roles. Now I'm you, licensed light bulb salesman, and now you're the vice president of finance.
What was your name when you did?
Yeah.
I thought you were.
Well, I'm a wonderful.
Yeah, I am wonderful.
Yeah, I'm a wonderful. So Chris, it's obvious we don't have a 7.5 hour. We're not gonna have one. I'm not even gonna be it. The competitors have it. I don't have it. But what I do have is information. I know my competition really, really well. I know them better than themselves. I've competed against them on a bunch of different levels, and I beat them most of the time. What I do have is copies of proposals they submitted to some of your competitors on the same light bulbs. What would you think if you're buying 100,000 light bulbs and they have in their bid they have quantity discounts at 50,000, and I can show you another bid that they said they have quantity discounts at 25,000. So every 25,000 your costs go down. But those other ones, every 50,000 your costs go down. Price versus force. That will save you money, right? Are you interested in that?
I definitely want to save money.
So what if I have a proposal? In your proposal it says payments due net 30. That means you got to pay for 100,000 light bulbs in 30 days. But what if I have a proposal that says payment due net 90? I'm increasing your cash flow 60 more days. Is that important to you?
It's very important.
What if I tell you that the price what if I can show you that the bid price that they're showing you is almost like their everyday price and they can go lower? That would save you money, right?
Definitely.
You come across like the hero.
That's right.
So here's what I like to do. I'd like to come back after you decide on the vendor. You tell me which vendor you've decided on. I'll bring all my associated paperwork and we'll go line by line to find out where you can push back and ask for a better deal and save more money. The only thing that I ask for, the only thing I'm asking for is instead of making this a 3-year bid, make it a 1-year bid. Allow my engineering team to work with your engineering team to develop a 7.5 watt light bulb that will improve, hopefully, your machine. Because you're going to learn some things about your machine over the next year.
Sure.
Then you're going to enhance it, and we want to be side by side with you to do that. And lastly, let me help you build the bid out, the bid specs. Is that a reasonable trade?
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
Okay, that's all I'm looking for.
I'm glad that real estate's easier than selling lights.
So, but when I get to the end of the story, I tell people the moral of the story. Sometimes, if there's no obvious solution,
Right.
you got to create a problem to solve.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because, like, so you're on the telephone, you're not reaching this person, then you're talking about the wrong things. You got to switch that customer to something, an implied need, and then build your case around the implied need. Now,
Right.
the implied need that I put in this scenario wasn't about light bulbs.
That's right.
The implied need was saving money.
That's right.
Vice President, I recognize the Vice President wants to save money. So I started creating a problem around this whole bid process.
Or probably maybe not didn't really kind of see.
He
He
didn't-
just thought somebody's going to give him the best deal.
Right.
And that was it. You know,
Yeah.
the best out of the three. And
Yeah,
none
and
realized
lowest cost, that's what I'm going with. But there's things inside the bid that you're paying for that you may not necessarily pay for. Here's the other thing I tell the team. I said, guess what happened to you? The reason why it's a 7.5 watt light bulb is because somebody did just what I did last year and squeezed me out of the deal because they knew they couldn't beat my 5 watt light bulb.
That's right.
So they switched to specs
That's
for
right.
7.5. Now I'm turning the game right back on them. It's gonna be fun. And here's a benefit for me. I'm gonna see the bid. I'm gonna see all the prices. I'm gonna be able to help build the specs for the new. Our engineering teams will work side by side with their engineering team to develop possibly the new laser or enhance the laser. And my bulb's gonna fit within some. I'm gonna force the specifications to be very, very tight.
And that's just one client.
Yeah.
Because you got to know those numbers on all those other things. Those guys are your competition everywhere else too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna smoke them every time.
That's right.
This was an actual interview question that 30 years ago I was asked. One question was this Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
And because Xerox tells you to look for the value in a given situation and ask the right questions, I was able to answer the question and then give them the example of when I did it. And they were like, you're hired.
Nice.
On the spot.
Nice.
So here's how Captain Kirk saw it, so as we come full circle.
That's right.
So Captain Kirk realized that there was a computer that could cheat and lie. The night before the simulation, he went in to the computer room. We programmed the computer to not cheat and not lie. right?
Yeah.
He comes back to his room, he goes to sound, he aces the scenario. Nobody could believe it. And I said, this is a no-win. You weren't supposed to win this, but I just won. How did you win? I said, I went and reprogrammed the computer. So you can't do that. He said, here's your rule book. There's nothing in this rule book that says I can't do that.
That's right.
So they had to give them the accommodation. They had to give them the award. They had to give them the Starship Enterprise because he took an unwinnable situation and he won.
That's right.
And in your game, in my game, we teach people how a no is an unwinnable situation if you accept it.
That's right. That's right.
No's lead to whys lead to yeses.
That's right.
If you know how to ask why, you will eventually get to a yes. But if you accept a no, then you're going to lose every single time.
That's right. And I would say for real estate, what I notice is, like when we're talking about that, what starts coming to my mind is immediately how many no's we get. And what we do is, like, you know, say we're calling a neighborhood, or letting people know that, hey, we just sold a property down the street. Everybody, you know, we're going to ask them if they have any real estate needs. At that time, you know, when are you guys planning on putting your home on the market? You know, and they're always, you know, everybody's saying, you know, no, they're not putting their home on the market. You got to think, out of 1,000 homes in the neighborhood, not everybody's putting their home on the market at once. So the next best thing that we have for them is, we know that the market that we have is challenging, it's different, you know, it's been up, it's been kind of flatlining recently. You know, markets are different all across the United States, and these people really are not informed. You go talk to your neighbor, and your neighbor's like, oh, the market's great, and you'll talk to somebody else, and they're like, oh, the market's horrible, oil feels horrible right now, and everybody knows getting laid off. So they really don't know.
Right. So
the first thing that we say after we know, you know, of course we ask them twice, you know, we're gonna first ask them, you know, when do you guys plan on moving? Oh, we don't plan on moving. Fantastic, how long have you guys been in the neighborhood for? We've been in the neighborhood for about 20 years. Where do you guys moved from before then? Well, we were actually in Iowa. So you guys moved to Texas, fantastic. Now that you've been here for 20 years, if you were to move, where would you go next? And that's when they tell you, because they do have a plan, even though they always tell you no first. And then that second thing they tell you is going to be, you know, we have been thinking about building out here, moving over there, and downsizing here. But it might not be any time, you know, around that. Well, the best thing we can do for them, whether it's no altogether or, you know, yes, maybe in 2-3 years, is going to be, well, we have a different market. Are you guys up to date with what's going on with that market? How can we service the need of you guys understanding what's occurring every day and every month in your neighborhood, the neighborhoods around your neighborhood? So I'm going to get that information from them, and I'm going to make sure that they're going to get a video email from us, or an email via, you know, just a regular email that's going to show them what's happening in their marketplace on a monthly basis. So in 6 months, when they've been noticing that the trends are going up or staying the same, they have no doubt of what's going on, and who's giving them that information? It's going to be us. So when they say, you know what, it's time to sell, time to buy, or we notice that they're clicking on that information all the time, they're probably going to start getting that, hey, I'm going to be making a change, I'm going to move, and they're going to work with the person who solved that problem during the period of time where they really didn't have one.
Right.
We just kind of fixing that void
Right.
and keeping them up to date, because I'll talk to people and they're like, geez, it seems like everybody thinks something different going on with the market. But when you see the real numbers, like when I go list somebody's home, and they're like, well, this guy down the street sold his for $600,000. I have this house right here, it's up for $600,000. Right. You know, but
Public information.
but they just think that they think they understand what's going on because so many different people are telling them. But usually you go there and you bring them the numbers, and I feel they have some clarity of knowing, hey, you know what? Because some people will put their home on the market just because they think they're going to make, you know, $50,000 extra because they heard somebody else down the street sold it at some price. They don't realize that information. You can just call me and ask me for that information. So I might as well just send it to them anyway. You know,
Right.
And when they need that real estate need in 5 years, you know, I would imagine that's how I pick up for real estate when you were, you know, put for that, because it's just filling that area.
Yeah, it's go, and that's what I learned at Xerox, is creating an implied need, turning it into an explicit need, and then solving it.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what you did. That in the example you just gave, you started creating an implied need. You created this impression in this client's mind that you're the expert, and guess whose phone they're going to pick up when that implied need turns into an explicit need, because what you're essentially doing is planting a seed.
That's right. That's right. And it's funny because how you get people to act on it the most. People don't want to give you their email address. People don't want to give you their cell phone number. You know, they feel like you're going to bother them, and we're not going to bother them at all. The only time we hit them up is with, you know, I'll call my past clients and I'll say, hey, I just wanted to give you a call. You know, you got the home last year for $140,000, and right now, when I looked at the marketplace in your neighborhood, your home's probably worth about 175. I want to let you know that you've increased about $35,000 in equity in the last 2 years. And usually like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I knew the price has gone up a little bit. But how we get them to give us their email addresses is great, because we'll tell them, a lot of the neighbors in the area have requested to know more about the marketplace. So we're making sure that they're aware of everything that's going on. Would you like to be included with them as well? Everybody wants to be included. So that's how you get them to say, you know what, if Bob across the street's going to know about the market, I'm going to know about the market. And it kind of makes them, and then they end up getting the information they really want, and they can read it, they don't read it, they can, it's up to them to take that information. Right. Just like the guy you're talking about for that, that guy can go over there and give them that information of, hey, what's all this stuff, and he can, even though we think we know how he's going to act with it, he might not even care what that guy has to say when it actually comes down to it. But it's just getting that appointment, getting that set to where at least he can deliver that opportunity of what he knows.
Because the likelihood of you getting a no in a face-to-face is much lower than it is for like 90%.
And that's why we do a lot of door knocking as well. And like, Aaron who just walked by saying, Aaron is a door knocking machine. And on the phone, he has somewhat of a little bit of a language barrier sometimes, being from out of the country, but he's so enthusiastic. He gets a lot of leads on the phone, but when he goes to the door, he's smiling, his enthusiasm is through the roof, and you can't, not everybody, people can click on you on the phone, but you might get one person to close the door on you after you talk to 50 people in person, but you get 20 people to hang up on you on the phone. So I agree with you on that, because people talk to you, and I guess it's more real. When somebody calls you on the phone, I feel like too many of the wrong sales type companies have probably called people so much the last 15 years that when an actual person that lives down the street from them gives them a call that's there to help them out, they close them away like they're in India at some call station. That's just their perception that everybody calling is like somebody from far away.
Yeah, when I get those calls, I usually give them 20 seconds.
Yeah, they're 20 seconds you were talking about.
20 seconds.
I ask them where they live.
Yeah.
I say, you live close to Houston? Because you come work for me and you do this kind of stuff, you'll make so much money you don't know what to do with it.
See, he does that at the closing table too, apparently.
Yeah.
With my escrow officers.
Yeah. Trying to give them a dream. Trying to sell the dream to them.
You gotta sell the dream. You gotta sell it. That's all this really is.
We can have the Jesse and Jesse team.
Hey, yeah, he'd like that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I would. You probably would too. You good?
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about?
Well, the only thing I would say is, if any realtors that are listening to this that, maybe are afraid to get on the phones, don't really know, exactly where to get started, what kind of training it takes, how to get past all the no's, how to be consistent. Listings are the name of the game. So, if you're looking to take, 5, 10, 15 listings a month, and become a superstar agent, I would love to have you here. I'd love to kind of show you the plan that we would have for you. I understand that most offices out there, they work differently. They want you to be successful, but a lot of times they might just, tell you everything you want to hear instead of what you need to hear. And I think the number one thing I pride myself on is being as real as possible with the agents around. If they're not doing what they need to be doing, I'm going to let them know it. The plan's there for them. We work on their plan every single day. Their stuff's in front of them all the time. If their goal is to do 50 deals, then they're not going to forget about it for a week. It's going to be with them. So if you have high goals and you feel like for some reason where you're at, it's not just the place for you, and you want to try something new, the average agent right now is staying in the business for only about 1 year to 2 years. That means there's a lot of agents out there having part-time jobs. They're making $10,000 a year, $5,000 a year, and they got into this business to make 150, 250, 350 plus and be a superstar. And they still have that superstar in them. Just because you haven't been one for 2, 3, 4 years, it could just be where you're at hasn't set you up to be one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would say that's the biggest thing. I want to look for people who really, really take advantage of the opportunity. And a lot of agents out there, I meet agents all the time. They're like prospecting and talking to people and what's a FSBO? And I'm like, you're an agent. You don't know what a for sale by owner is. It's kind of those people need your help. They don't realize that there's so many lead sources out there that you don't have to pay for. At our office, we pay for most of the stuff for our agents, and we're paying for the dollars, we're paying for everything, and we're going to set them up to just, develop their skills, close on them, and sell some light bulbs or sell a plan.
That's right. That's awesome. Either sell the light bulb or sell the idea.
The idea, the great thing about real estate too is, or in most sales jobs, is you're not picking up a shovel. The pen is the most rewarding thing that you get to work with, because that check, those checks that get written up by that pen are the biggest checks in the business. The heaviest thing you should be picking up every day.
That's what I was about to say. That's the heaviest thing I lift.
Heaviest thing right there.
And
I see the
make
guys
sure
working
it's
out there.
Make sure it's a blue pen.
A blue pen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the heaviest thing I lift these days.
That's right.
Everything else is not that important.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Ed, thanks for coming all the way to Colorado.
No problem.
Thanks,
Nice
sir.
to meet you.
I appreciate it. Until next time.